All right, welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're jumping into a huge challenge on the internet. Why do search engines sometimes feel like they're not listening? We're going to decode why they get us wrong, and more importantly, how a really smart approach is finally teaching them to understand what we actually mean. Let's get into it. So, have you ever done this? You type something into a search bar, you hit enter, and you just stare at the results thinking, how on earth did you get that from what I just asked? Yep. If you've ever felt that frustration, you've run headfirst into a problem that isn't really about the tech. It's about language itself. You see, our language is anything but simple. The source material for this explainer puts it beautifully. It's like this incredible tapestry, woven every day with all these tiny threads of subtlety, context, and what we intend to say. For us, it's second nature, but for a machine, that beautiful tapestry can look like a giant, tangled mess. And this troublemaker? It's got a name: semantic ambiguity. It just means that one word or phrase can have a bunch of different meanings. But here's the crazy part. That's not a bug in our language. It's a feature. It's what makes our communication so flexible and rich. But that very same richness is a massive headache for computers. Okay, let's take a classic example. Someone types in the word banco. Now, what do they mean? Are they looking for a financial institution, a park bench, a database, a sandbank? Without more context, the search engine is totally just guessing. It sees a string of letters, it doesn't see the person's intent. And believe me, it gets even trickier. The problem isn't just single words. Look at a sentence like this. The tourist photographed the guard with the camera. So who has the camera? Is it the tourist, or is the guard holding one? Our brains automatically figure out the most likely scenario, but a machine has to learn that from scratch by analyzing tons and tons of data. So you might be sitting there thinking, okay, a few weird search results, what's the big deal? Well, on the web, this confusion has a very real and very high cost. It's what the source material calls the cost of uncertainty. Think about it. When a user lands on your page and it's not what they wanted, they hit the back button almost immediately. That's called pogo sticking. They don't stick around, which means low dwell time. And of course, if you get the wrong people on your site, they're not going to buy or sign up. But here's the kicker. All of this sends negative signals back to the search engine, basically telling it, hey, this page isn't relevant. And over time, that can absolutely destroy your rankings. SEO expert Alexander Rodriguez Silva puts it perfectly with this quote. He says, trying to optimize for a word like bank without any context is like using a cannon to hit a fly. It's just so inefficient. You might make a lot of noise and get a lot of clicks, but it's all the wrong traffic, and in the end, it just hurts you. So if just chasing keywords gets us lost in this maze of meaning, how do we find our way out? Well, the answer is a huge shift in thinking called semantic SEO. You can think of it like that magical thread from the Greek myth, the one that leads you right through the labyrinth and into the clear. Here's the difference. The old way, traditional SEO, was completely obsessed with the exact words people typed, the strings. The new way, semantic SEO, focuses on what people actually mean, their intent and the context around their search. It's a massive shift from just matching words to actually decoding meaning. So how do we actually do this? Well, first, you build a rich context around your topic, what's called a semantic field. So if you're writing about mangoes, you're also talking about fruit, smoothies, and vitamin A. Second, you use structured data. This is basically like leaving little sticky notes for the search engine bots that say, hey, this part is a recipe, or this is a person's name. And third, you organize it all logically, showing how all these different ideas connect to each other. And all of this brings us to the real heart of the matter. The most powerful, most elegant solution that just slices right through all that ambiguity. It's a shift in how we think about information, a move from strings to things. And what is a thing? It's what we call an entity. An entity isn't just a word anymore. It's a unique, real-world concept. It could be a person, a company, a movie, a city, even an abstract idea. The point is, it's something that can be uniquely identified, separate from everything else. Here's where it all clicks. The keyword Da Vinci, that's just a string of letters. It's totally ambiguous. Could be a person, a school, a movie, who knows? But the entity, identified by a unique code like Q762, refers to one and only one specific thing, the Renaissance artist. With an entity, there's zero confusion. The ambiguity, it's just gone. This whole strings to things idea isn't just a theory, by the way. It's exactly what's powering huge systems like Google's knowledge graph. Search engines aren't just indexing a web of pages based on keywords anymore. They are literally building a massive graph of interconnected entities, and they're understanding the relationships between them, just like our brains do. So what does this all mean for the future of the web? It means we're building an internet that's way more intelligent. A web that doesn't just match text, but one that actually understands meaning. And this right here really says it all. The definitive solution to all this confusion is making that jump from focusing on strings to focusing on things. The future of search isn't about getting better at guessing. It's about connecting our questions directly to the real-world things we're actually curious about. Okay, so let's boil it all down. What do you need to remember? First, our language is naturally ambiguous, and that's a huge problem for computers. Second, that problem has real costs that lead to a bad user experience. The answer is semantic SEO, which is all about focusing on meaning, not just keywords. And the ultimate fix? It's focusing our content on those unique, real-world things, the entities, instead of the ambiguous strings we used to chase. And that leaves us with one final big question to think about. As these machines get better and better at actually understanding us, how is that going to change the questions we ask them in the first place? What kinds of more complex, more interesting, more human questions are we going to be able to explore? That's the exciting future we're heading towards. Thanks for joining me on The Explainer.